It is Friday, October 23rd. This is the Legit Betting Edge podcast, episode number 4. My name is Brian Benito. I'm with my partner, Scott Johnson. Scott, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good this Friday morning. Looking forward to some Friday night football and a big weekend of college football. The Big Ten's back this weekend and the Pac-12 coming back next week. So we're getting a little bit back to normal. So I'm excited and ready to go.
I'm excited. A lot of unknowns this weekend, but I'm happy things are starting. And the faster the Pac-12 gets in the game, the better off we'll all be, right? So let's quickly tell the viewers how they can get a hold of you, and then we'll get started.
Okay. You can get a hold of me on my Twitter feed at ScojoAZ Sports. You can follow me on Twitter. I put a lot of content out there. Also, Instagram. I'm going to start putting videos and stuff on Instagram. Scojo Picks is my Instagram handle. And my website, November 1st, is going to be up and running. That is the date it's going to be going. I'm going to be doing some test stuff this weekend with it. So look on Twitter for some release stuff from my website, scojopicks.com. But that's how you can find me.
You can find me on Twitter at @my_bankroll. Also Instagram at @my_bankroll. Both of them. Right now, my primary concern is building the audience. So we appreciate you watching. And if you could help us promote this a little bit by retweeting it, watching, subscribing, giving us a shout out, however you want to do it, we certainly appreciate that. That being said, let's get right into it. Let's talk about last night first. Giants go into Philadelphia, and what a show that was, huh, Scott?
Yeah. I looked at that game and I was back and forth whether I should, make a play on that game. And I went with Philadelphia because I thought it was their turn to seize control of this division. I thought that he was getting Deshaun Jackson back. He was getting Lane Johnson back. I thought that was going to be enough to the Philadelphia to pretty much control that game. And early on, it looked like they were going to, but Philadelphia, 3 trips inside the red zone and you come up with a donut. He throws a pick, they miss a field goal, they turn it over on downs. That was just a killer for my bet. I mean, Philadelphia does end up getting the win, but I had Philadelphia -4, so that was a loss for me. So, but the New York Giants, man, on the road this year, they're 4-0, and over their last 20, 16-4 against the spread. So, that number is kind of glaring. So I probably should have stayed off that game, but I really, I liked my read. I liked my handicap. I thought Philadelphia would win that game and just didn't work out. So we move on, but the under, I didn't think was going to be in question at all the way that game was going. And then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, here we go. So there was a little bit of sweat for, those people that had the total. But yeah, I mean, it ended up being a decent game, but just 2 bad teams, a bad division. I probably should have stayed off that game. So
I mean, maybe the worst division in the history of football right now is trending that direction, right? So, but I'll tell you this. I mean, regardless of what happened last night during the game, it always felt like, to me anyway, because I've seen so many of these crappy games, that eventually Philadelphia was going to win that game. Now, obviously, I was on the under. My players were on the under. I shot a video for the under on Twitter. The under did come in by 1.5 points. I had it at 44.5, not 45. Comes in at 43. So, I was fortunate two-point conversions didn't hit, but let's face facts. The way they were playing, they weren't going to hit the 2-point conversions. They can't execute anything. And it was just a matter of the Giants finally breaking down. Look, Jones, the Giants quarterback, most yards running, most yards passing. He can't do it all. So, but still, you're looking at Philly. Philly is in no position to be a favorite at any point in time right now. And at 4.5 points, obviously, they came up a loser last night. I was happy to be on the under. And so we just move on. But, yeah, it is probably the worst division in football up to this point in the history of the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, those 2-point conversions, too. I mean, Philadelphia, the Philly special, right? They draw up 2-point conversions. I mean, those plays were as predictable as you get. I mean, they bring in Hurts. They have some weird formation. You see Rodgers, the tight end, lined up right behind the center. They're going to do some kind of jump pass. So that was an easy read. And then the other 2-point conversion, they just run like a power sweep with Carson Wentz to the right. So, and then, Daniel Jones getting sniped at the 20-yard line was that was just everything you needed to know about that game. So, right. Yeah,
Here's my opinion about Hurts, though. You don't bring in Hurts unless the offense is completely efficient and ready to go. Then you add that component. You don't add a component when things are still a mess. You really don't.
We thank Sean Payton for that, because everybody seems to. Even the Cardinals were doing that with. I'm a Cardinals fan. I don't even know who the guy is they bring in to take Murray off the field. They haven't done it in the last 2 games, thank goodness. But Yeah, that whole bringing in the quarterback, putting Drew Brees on the sideline with Hill. I just hate that, but whatever.
That's what they do. That's what they do. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen. Enough of that. But it was a show and very entertaining. Even if you didn't have a bet on it, you're watching it just to see what kind of trouble is going to happen next. What kind of mishap will happen. And plenty did hit. Let's move on to hopefully a bunch of winners this weekend. Go to college football first. Let's talk about some games.
Yeah. Like we said, the Big Ten getting going this weekend. Friday night, you've got Illinois and Wisconsin are playing Friday night tonight, and then tomorrow we've got a big game, Minnesota and Michigan. And I looked at the spread. It looks like Michigan right now is favored by 3. The over under, and I think the total is 54. In my opinion, I mean, we don't have a lot to go on. There's no film. I mean, these are the first games. These are big games right away. You can't lose a game. Minnesota, I think the wrong team's favored here. I really like Minnesota. They got Tanner Morgan coming back. That offense is going to be rolling, I think. Tanner Morgan had a passer rating last year. I was looking this up, 178.7. That was 4th in college football last year, behind Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and the kid from Ohio State, Fields. He was the 4th rated passer. So their defense, Minnesota's defense is young. So, can they hold off Michigan? But Michigan right now is a mess. I mean, they've had players opt out. They really don't know who their quarterback's going to be. So, Michigan, I feel is, favored here by name alone. I really like Minnesota in this spot. I have not made a bet, but I think the wrong team's favored here. I like Minnesota to win this game outright.
Didn't Minnesota open as a 1-point favorite? I thought I saw that. I didn't look too closely till we talked about the game yesterday. We're going to talk about on this podcast. But I think Minnesota was a 1-point fave. It's been bet up Michigan -3. If I'm handicapping this based on last year's numbers, which I had to look at it because we were going to talk about it, I would say Michigan's going to get the win. But based on what you just talked about, it seems obvious that the total you should go under the total based on what you just said. So, but either way, nothing is solid, and we don't have any evidence of anything this year. And so I really have to lay off this game. But I'm curious to see how Michigan, basically going into Minnesota with a lot of pressure on them to open the season, especially because Big Ten's opening late. All those things are a factor here. So it'll be interesting to watch what happens here.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's going to be able to move the ball against Michigan. I have no doubt about that. What I'm worried about with Minnesota is they're young on the defensive side of the ball. So, are they going to be able to stop Michigan? Are they going to be able to hold them? Are they going to be able to score enough points? So I'm kind of with you. I mean, I like Minnesota in this game. Do I like them enough to make a bet here? I don't know. Probably not. But this is a big game for Michigan right out of the chute, having to go to Minnesota. I do like Minnesota to win the West over Wisconsin. So we'll see.
Really? You do?
But,
okay.
Yeah, I like Minnesota to win the West over Wisconsin. Wisconsin's just, Wisconsin's got a lot of questions too. I mean, their defense is going to, I think after 3 or 4 games, they're going to probably be one of the best defenses in college football. But that offense with no Jonathan Taylor, they lose their quarterback. They got Mertz coming in now. So, we'll see where Wisconsin ends up. But I like Minnesota this year. I like them in the West. So we'll see what happens, see how it plays out.
All right. Let's move on. We'll be going Iowa State at Oklahoma State. What are your thoughts on this game, and are you going to play it?
Again, I don't know if I'm going to play this. If I do anything on this game, I think I'm looking at the total here. A couple numbers jumped out at me for this. Matt Campbell, the Iowa State head coach, is, let me look at this, 22-7 against the spread as an underdog, 17-5 at Iowa State as an underdog against the spread. They're getting 3.5 points here, but you got Chuba Hubbard and Breece Hall. I think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. 2 decent defensive teams here. So I'm looking at the total, maybe going under in this game. Don't really have a feel on who is going to win, but like I said, that Matt Campbell being 22-7 as an underdog against the spread. I mean, one, it tells me his team's an underdog a lot, but that's a pretty good record against the spread. Probably not enough for me to make a play on this game. If I do anything, like I said, I'm looking maybe at going under. I think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. So that's something I'm looking at, but I don't have a play on the side right now.
I'll be honest. I'm not gonna play this game straight up. If I tease it with something, that might be something I do. I will tell you this though: Oklahoma State was scoring at will, and they've scored at will after that first game. They just went up and down the field on Texas Tech a couple of weeks back. They've had a week off. They're locked and loaded. They're going on the road at Oak State. Oak State just destroyed, what was it? That's Kansas, pardon me. Pardon me. And but, yeah, it's a game. If I was going to play it, straight up, I lean Iowa State plus the points just because of the trend you just said, but not just because of that. Iowa State is playing well. They can score. They can hang with Oklahoma State. And let's be honest, I don't know that Oklahoma State's really been tested. Iowa State, have they been tested? Maybe not, but I think Iowa State has moved and scored a lot more steadily than Oklahoma State to start the season anyway. So,
yeah, two of the better teams. Yeah, the two of the better teams in the Big 12. Like I said, I don't think the Big 12 is getting a team in the dance this year. But this is a pretty good game in the Big 12. Like I said, if I do anything, I'm on the total, maybe on the under, but I haven't made a play on this game, so haven't done anything yet. But that, like I said, the 22-7 against the spread as an underdog, I looked at that number. That might be something I look at, but probably not going to play anything in this game.
Yeah, and you can't go against that number anyway. So, but yeah, it might be a layoff. But again, if I do something, I'll probably tease it with another team. I like to tease that up all the way to 9.5 or whatever with Iowa State if I do connect it with something. All right, next game. Let's move on. South Carolina getting 6 at LSU. Was that total 6? Was it 6.5 or is it 6 right now?
I seen it at there was more 6s than 6.5, so
okay.
I put 6. So okay. I'm seeing it at 6. But LSU can score the ball, but they cannot defend this year. Mississippi State and Missouri, they give up 40 plus, and they played Vanderbilt, and everybody beats Vanderbilt. They only gave up 7 to Vanderbilt, but this defense is struggling right now. They're giving up tons of points, but that offense is lethal. And in comes South Carolina, who just beat Auburn. I'm looking not so much at the site here, but again at the total. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I know South Carolina's defense is above average, but this LSU team offensively is absolutely lethal. I think they're going to put up points, but I think they're going to give up points too. So that total sitting at 55, I'm looking at that. A pretty juicy number for the over. So I may jump on the over in this game. Probably going to be on the over in this game, but that's if I'm doing anything in that game, I'm looking at this total.
Okay, and that sounds good. Yeah, look, South Carolina played a great game against Auburn. First time they beat them in what was it, 27? How many years?
It was forever.
Ridiculous. Is that too much of a celebration they had last week to go in LSU and maybe get crushed after LSU loses to Missouri a couple of weeks back? So I'm looking at Missouri. I'm leaning LSU minus the 6 points here. I think they cover the spread. Am I going to play it? Do I like it that much? I'm not sure yet. Again, I'm gonna look and see what happens with this line. You're showing me 6 now. I saw 6.5. That's a little concerning, but I know that public money is on South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll take a close look at that as the day progresses, and before the game starts, make a decision. But I really don't have it right now. I do lean LSU minus the points, though. I think they're angry. I think they come home. I think they got something to prove. I think South Carolina might be a little light, might be a little less focused because they beat that Auburn streak that they were down for 27 years, whatever it was. So that's something that I'll look at. So let's move on. I know you have a beat on this game. We got Notre Dame at Pitt. Tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is a game. This is one of the big games for me this weekend. I've already jumped on this. Pittsburgh getting 10 at home against Notre Dame. I love this game. I love Pittsburgh to cover this game, and this is going to be my upset of the week that I think Pittsburgh's going to win this game. Now, their offense has been atrocious. Pitt's defense is really, if you look at their numbers, they're one of the top defenses in the country. But that offense is just struggling. I watched that game against Miami. They had 6 possessions in the second and third quarter. 5 of them get inside the red zone, and they score 12 points. So they left a ton of points, out there against Miami. They should have been in that game, could have won that game. Notre Dame, on the flip side, their quarterback is decent, but they don't have any playmakers on the outside. Those wide receivers can't get separation. I think Pitt is going to be able to lock them down. I think they're going to stop the run. I think that the total in this game is 43.5. So I think this could be another 12-7 game like Notre Dame just played against Louisville, and they only put up 12 points against Louisville, and now they're coming in to face Pittsburgh. Man, I love Pittsburgh in this spot. I don't care who their quarterback is. Yellen played last week. I know their starting quarterback, he might be back, but I don't think that matters because I think Pitt on the defensive side of the ball is going to keep this within the 10. And I'm going to put a small bet on the money line here. I actually like Pitt to upset Notre Dame this week. That's going to be my big call.
What is the money line on that? Do you know? Is it plus 400?
Yeah, I think the last I saw, I thought it was like 375 or something like that. So
Okay.
I was with I've made a bet on the plus 10, but I haven't done money line yet, just because with COVID and college, they're not forthright. So you got to kind of wait about an hour before the game to see what's going on, to see if anybody's missing. You know, if all of a sudden they're missing 3, 4, 5 guys on that defensive side of the ball, you know, there could be problems, and you know that changes the handicap, and that changes everything. So COVID in college is, you know, you got to kind of tread lightly and be careful with that, because you know, we were talking about the Arkansas State and App State, and I know you liked App State in that game.
Yeah.
And App State just dominated that game, but they had just gone through this whole COVID, you know, virus thing, and there was a lot of talk about they don't know who's going to play. There might be some people out still, so that was just a game I could, you know. It turns out that App State pretty much had everybody, and they dominated that game, but it was just too scary for me. I didn't know, you know, what to do in that game, so I just stayed off it.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times when I look at a game, I mean, I look at numbers, but you're also looking for, you know, a scenario, a spot. Pitt coming home, catching 10 from Notre Dame, who just struggled with Louisville, is a great spot. So I'm with you on this. I'm going to bet on Pittsburgh. I'm going to take the 10. I don't know that I'm going to money line it, but I do think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a low scoring game, so that under the total might hit as well. These are two things you're going to look at. The Pitt and under 43.5 are two very strong plays that if you're betting on Saturday, anybody watching, you want to check into it. You want to do your own research on it, obviously. But bottom line is, I'm with you. I agree with you. I concur. This is one of the biggest dogs of the day, because there are a lot of favorites and a lot of big favorites that I think we'll cover on Saturday. So, but very good. I like it. Let's move on. Let's do some NFL. What do we got? Green Bay, Houston. Let's do it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, Green Bay last week against Tampa Bay looked like world beaters in like the first 7 minutes of that game. I don't know what happened to Aaron Rodgers. You know, he took a big hit going into the end zone there, and I don't know if he got, you know, his bell rung a little bit, because he did not look the same the rest of that game. So, you know, he might have been a little bit out of it. It looked to me like Green Bay kind of just shut it down in the second half, and kind of just figured they threw in the white towel. But now they're coming into Houston, and some numbers I looked at, or a side I'm looking at in this game is Green Bay first half. Right now, I think you can get them at -2 or -2.5. But look, Houston, I was looking at their numbers, and they just get off to terrible starts. I mean, they did play a good game at Pittsburgh. They were up 21-17. But the rest of their games, Tennessee, they were down 21-10. Jacksonville at home, they were only up 10-7. Minnesota at home, they were down 17-6 at halftime. Baltimore, they were down 21-10 at halftime. KC, they were down 17-7 at halftime. And Green Bay is an elite team in this league. So I think Green Bay is going to get healthy here. I like them in the first half. That's probably where I'm going to go in this game, is play Green Bay first half. Houston, Deshaun Watson is just a fantasy dream, because he gets a bunch of garbage in the second, fourth quarter. They score a ton of points in the fourth quarter, but that defense for Houston is atrocious against the run. So I look for Jones to get going in this game. I think Rodgers will get back on track. I like Green Bay in this game.
Great analysis. I'm perplexed as to what's going to happen in this game, only because you're right. Green Bay was lights out at the very beginning of that game. Although I was watching it with a friend of mine, and they were making he was putting it in exactly where it needed to be, because Tampa Bay was playing tight defense, even when they were executing lights out for the first 10 points. So that hit might have screwed things up, and it might have thrown Rodgers off just a bit. And obviously, by late in the game, he was a little gun shy and scared he was going to take a big hit. So my thought is this: Houston's hungry for a win. 4 points. Maybe this game lands on 3. Maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not bold enough to step in front of Green Bay again, but I tend to have a feeling that Houston might hang tough with them, and at the end be inside that number. And listen, Green Bay was playing lights out before but who'd they play? I mean, they played Minnesota and Detroit. I mean, who'd they play? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Houston's not a world beater, but Houston's super hungry for a victory, and they thought they had that game won last week, right? And then they wind up losing because Tennessee's just a relentless juggernaut right now. So I'm going to lay off this game. If I was going to do it, though, I'd probably tease Houston up to 10 and roll with them and somebody else. The total I'm not really sure of.
Yeah, the total. If I was going to do anything on the total, I'd probably play the over. But I just Houston is in the second half scares me. So yeah, I wouldn't bet this game. I just that's why I'm saying I think Houston gets off to bad starts. I like Green Bay in the first half. If I do anything, that's going to be my play. Green Bay first half.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, next game.
We're going to go Pittsburgh and Tennessee.
We were just talking about it. Go ahead, start us out.
Yeah. So a couple injuries in this game. I know Pittsburgh's Bush. He's out. He tore his the linebacker for him. He's going to be gone. That's going to hurt their defense a little bit. But I know Tennessee also lost Lewan, one of their best offensive linemen. So he's going to be out. This is a good game. I mean, Tennessee. Everybody keeps saying bad things about Tennessee, but they just keep winning. So I think Pittsburgh's the best all-around team in the NFL. I think they can beat you through the air. They can beat you on the ground. They can play defense. They're just solid all the way around, and they're getting one. I'm leaning towards Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh's 4-1 against the spread this year. Tennessee's 3-0 against the spread in their last three. And I think there's going to be points in this game. And one of the numbers I was looking at is Tannehill is 13-2 to the over in 15 starts. So, that might be something that I look at here going over the 50.5. But on the side here, I think I'm just going to watch this game, enjoy it. I like Pittsburgh. I'm leaning Pittsburgh +1 and probably leaning to the over. Haven't done anything on this game. Those are my leans. Still have to dig into some numbers. But if I'm going to do anything, I'd probably be on the total in this game.
Yeah, it is a tough game. It's one of the best two games for the weekend. I think you got this game. You got Seattle going into Arizona. I think those are the two marquee games. And, of course, you got Monday night, which Rams-Bears. But I think that takes a back seat. This game right here could be a 3-point game, 2-point game, 1-point game. Could be, could land on one. It's tight. These teams are evenly matched. My thing is this, though. Pittsburgh has been playing well. They have been a juggernaut, but they haven't been on the road. They've been at home most of the games. I think they played on the road the first game, and that may be the game they didn't cover. I'm not sure. I don't recall. But I know they've been at home quite a bit. And generally speaking, when a team leaves home after they've been kind of cruising, and I'm not saying they're – because Pittsburgh's been doing what they're supposed to do, but I say this: Tennessee's not going to gift them anything. They're not going to throw them three interceptions like Baker Mayfield. They're not going to be doing things like that. I think you got Travis Henry running the ball down the throat. I think Tannehill's playing well. I would lean Tennessee -1, but again, this game is so tight. I think it lands on 3 anyway, either way. And I would tease this game. I tee actually Tennessee up to +5 is what I would roll with. If I was going to do this, I'd connect it. I don't know if I'd connect it with the Texans, okay, but I would connect Tennessee with something. And we'll get to that maybe at the end of this. So the total, I really don't know. Again, I did research and I can't really gauge it. These two teams will be scared the other team can jump out on them, so they might play conservative to begin with, that kind of thing. So it's a real feeling out process, I think, at the very beginning of the game. Could go under, could go over. I don't really know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm probably going to just watch that game and enjoy it. So Carolina, New Orleans next. And New Orleans here should get Michael Thomas back. I mean, it's Friday. He still could punch a teammate. We don't know. But looking at some of the numbers here, Carolina 3-3 against the spread this year. New Orleans is 7-3 against the spread versus Carolina in their last 10. And another stat that I liked is New Orleans 9-2 against the spread coming off a bye. 7.5. The hook there scares me. I think Carolina might, get a backdoor push or cover here. So I'm probably going to stay off this game. Michael Thomas is huge for Drew Brees. I mean, if he gets Michael Thomas back this week, that could change my mind a little bit. But Carolina's been surprising. They've been good on defense. I mean, they fly to the ball. They're still young. They still make some mistakes. Bridgewater's been okay. I know they still don't have Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to be out again this week. Mm-hmm. So this really isn't – I mean, New Orleans just been blah for me. I mean, Michael Thomas might ignite that offense a little bit, and they could run away with this game. That's definitely possible. But, another stat that I looked is Teddy Bridgewater is 30-10 against the spread in his career as a starting quarterback. So, I'm probably not going to go against Bridgewater here because I said I think the back door is wide open in this game. So I'm probably going to stay off it altogether and just watch this New Orleans offense and see if they can, find anything with Michael Thomas coming back.
Carolina plus 7.5 is a good play. I'm definitely playing that. They're going to stay inside the number against New Orleans. They both, New Orleans comes back after a bye week, but listen, let's face facts. New Orleans is not a juggernaut. Drew Brees is not. Yeah, Michael Thomas coming. Still, I've seen Drew Brees perform. I've seen this New Orleans defense perform. I think Bridgewater knows what to do against New Orleans. He played there last year. I think he'll find some spots. He'll have a comfort zone playing in the dome, even with fans there. I think he might be able to give his coach some tips about what Drew Brees' tendencies are on third and whatever, and what he likes to look at. And I just think that experience is going to pay off. I think Carolina stays well within the number here. The total's going to be close. It could creep over, but I'm not going to play that. So let's put it this way. If I was going to take, let's see, Tennessee plus 5 and Carolina plus 13.5, that would be a good teaser for me this weekend. I would probably roll with that. That's something I would probably think about on Sunday. But I'm definitely playing Carolina plus the 7.5. So I do like this game.
All right. And then we're going to go to a game that was flexed into Sunday night, Seattle at my Arizona Cardinals. So this is going to be a Sunday night game. Got moved to Sunday night because Tampa Bay and Las Vegas got some COVID concerns, and I know the NFL didn't want to cancel a Sunday night game, so they flexed this one into Sunday night. And so as an Arizona fan, I have to say I cannot stand the Seahawks. I hate them. I want them to lose every game. But as a but as a handicapper looking at this game, Arizona's defense has been good this year, and everybody associates Kingsbury and Murray with the air raid offense and a lot of points. That just hasn't materialized. They are 6-0 to the under this year on the total, so they haven't been scoring a lot of points, haven't been giving up a lot of points, but they also haven't played anybody. In comes Russell Wilson, the best quarterback in football right now this year. He's just playing unbelievable. Now, Seattle's defense, they've struggled and they're giving up a lot of points, but Russell Wilson always finds a way to get the W. So I'm going to be watching this game as a fan. I'm not touching this game because I want to sit there and root for my Cardinals. So, handicapping wise, every time these teams play, they play crazy games. Seattle's won the last 7 in Arizona, but Seattle won't have the fans there. And every time these teams play, it's like 50-50. Seattle has, 50%, and the Cardinals have 50%. So, that might be a little different. There's only going to be 1,200 fans in the stands, and they won't be Seattle fans. So, maybe this plays out a little different. I'm hoping Arizona can win this game. Their defense looked great on Monday night, but that was against Andy Dalton. So, they got Metcalf and Lockett and Russell Wilson to deal with this week. So I don't know. I'm going to watch it as a fan. I've got no analysis on this game because they play the strangest games all the time.
Yeah, well, Seattle's coming off a bye, right? So they're rested. Arizona's coming back home after a Monday night win against the pathetic Dallas Cowboys. Here's what I see, though. Arizona's good. I do have Seattle plus 6.5 to win the division. Okay, 6.5 to 1. So to win the division. So I'm rooting for Seattle. Bottom line, though, I don't need to root for them. Russell Wilson's going to win it, and they are going to cover this spread, I feel. I think you're looking at maybe a 7, maybe 11-point win. You're looking at Seattle covering the spread, maybe getting your low to mid 30s, and Arizona in like a 24 points or something like that. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I have it pegged right now. I haven't made the bet yet, but I am looking at Seattle on this. And so the total will be really tight too. If I get 33-24, I'm looking at 57 points. It's touchy. So if somebody misses a field goal, then I don't get the over. But I am looking at Seattle. I do think they cover the spread. I think they win by at least 4. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I do feel comfortable with that this weekend. Yeah,
I mean, we'll see what Arizona's defense is made of. I mean, I'm obviously in Arizona, so I listen to sports talk radio all the time, and everybody's just raving about, the defense, and they lost Chandler Jones. So they're, the DC is, now he's got a scheme and he releases, Budda Baker on the NFL. So, we'll see if they're legit. We'll see if they can hang with Seattle. I as a fan, I'm hoping they do. I hope they win this game. But, being, just looking at the game, this is the first team they're playing that, is good. So we'll see where they fall.
Right.
So.
Okay. Let's move on to the best bet segment, and let's roll with it.
All right. Well, so for Saturday, we didn't talk about the game, but my best bet, is a game that probably nobody's looking at. And I'm going to go Rice -3. They're playing Middle Tennessee State, and it's like one of the weirdest scheduling quirks you'll ever see. Rice is playing their first game due to a bunch of the COVID stuff, and Middle Tennessee State's playing their 7th. So, I guess you could look at this game both ways. You could look at Middle Tennessee State is in midseason form, and Rice is going to be working out the kinks. Rice was 3-9 last year, but they started to play really well at the end of the year, and they're getting everybody back. This whole team is back. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the 3 points. Rice will probably get off to maybe a little slow start there, first, second quarter, might even be behind at halftime, but I think eventually they'll get rolling, and I like them to cover this. I like them to win by double digits in this game. So that's going to be my best bet for Saturday. For Sunday, we did talk about the game, and it's Green Bay in the first half. I like that game. The Texans have showed that they can't get off to good starts. Green Bay is, they had a bad game against Tampa Bay last week. I think they're going to get back on track. The full game scares me just because Houston, they always seem to come back, and, Deshaun Watson goes nuts in the fourth quarter all the time. But I think Green Bay is going to build a lead here early. So my best bet on Sunday is going to be Green Bay first half. I've got it at -2. I think it's up to -2.5. So that's going to be my best bet on Sunday. And for me, my dog is going to be Pitt. We talked about that. Pitt playing Notre Dame. Pitt getting 10 at home. So I'm definitely going to take the points there. And I'm calling for the upset here. I am going to play the money line. I'm going to probably wait closer to game time just to make sure they're not missing anybody big. So I'll probably make that bet on Saturday right before the game starts. But I'm calling for the upset. If everybody's there for Pittsburgh and they're not missing anybody on the defensive side, I like Pitt to win that game.
That sounds good, man. I like those plays. I like Rice. I did look at their last year. I just handicapped the game from last year. I looked at Middle Tennessee. It looks right, and I like where you're going there. For myself on Saturday, it's a game we did not talk about either. Missouri is at home against Kentucky. They're getting 5.5. Missouri's had a week off. They played LSU. They beat them. Kentucky just destroyed Tennessee. But really, were they gifted a bunch of touchdowns by Tennessee's incompetence? They were.
Yep.
Missouri getting those points, I'm taking it. Missouri plus the 5.5 on Saturday. So I like that. On Sunday, I like a total. We're looking at Detroit going into Atlanta. The total's 55, whatever it is, and I think it's just going to be an air show there. I think bombs away from both teams. Nobody's got some defense. I think a ton of points are scored. I think the over in the Detroit Atlanta game is the play on Sunday. The dog game. Now, I could go to the New York Jets plus 13.5. I could, because I think that's got a shot this weekend. But I'm going to go right back to Missouri plus the 5 on Saturday as my dog of the day because I think they're going to win outright. I will put a money line play in there. And I do like Missouri to cover the 5 points on Saturday afternoon, 5.5, whatever it is. I have it at 5.5 against Kentucky. I think Kentucky gets upended, and I think they lose that game. So there we go on that. I like what we got going here. This was a good show. Any final thoughts, Scott?
No, again, when you see this, if you could share it for us, go to the YouTube channel. Will be up this weekend. I'm working on that today. So you can go to my YouTube channel, Scojo Picks. You can find it there. I will have it on the website. You can go to my website. You can find it there, but you will go to our YouTube channel, and me and Brian will be putting a lot of content on there. So once that channel's up, we ask, go there, subscribe. We're definitely trying to get over 1,000 subscribers there. We can do more with the channel, the more subscribers we get. So the more you guys can help us out, the more we appreciate that. You can always follow me on Twitter at ScojoAZ Sports. And you can go to my Instagram, Scojo Picks. I'll be putting a lot of videos on there now. And as of November 1st, Scojo Picks, my website will be up and running. So you can find me in any of those places.
I've been lazy with the social media, but I am on Twitter. You can find me there. I'll shoot some videos and for the weekend, see what's going on based on what I see from this point going forward. I'll have something tomorrow morning. Obviously, Sunday morning, I'll post another video. Bottom line, though, is we appreciate you watching. We're just getting cranked up here, getting started. We want to push this thing big, and we will be staying at it until we get huge. And we're hoping that you'll help us do that. That's it for today. Episode number 4 is in the books, and we will chat with you on Monday.